Well, good morning to you. It is Friday. It's October the 30th. And boo, you scared? Well, you should be. We've got your Halloween edition of Up to the Minute here, folks. That's right. For the next half hour, we are going to bring you the best in entertainment and some HCC news and information. We've got some special guests today. Before we get to them, Brittany Pacheco, she's running a few minutes late. She texted me and said that she's got some maintenance in her apartment right now. So she'll be joining us in a few moments. But Frank Cooper here on time as always. Good to see you, Frank. Are you scared this morning, Frank?
Am I scared? I'm never scared. I'm always up for the challenge, whatever the challenge may be, you know? But it's great to be here. Happy Friday to Todd, everybody, Dr. Adams, Girls Education, Nathan. Guys, let's grow the show. YouTube is live right now. We're on Facebook. We want the latest episodes of Up to the Minute. Hit the notification bell. Look at Houston Community College. Let's grow the show.
That's right, Frank. And of course, stick around. Keep an eye on the social media comments because they may be blazing through today. We've got some intriguing guests on the show. Brittany will join us in a little while, so I'm going to ask you to stand by. Of course, I've got an old friend joining me right now, a gentleman I've known for about 25 years. Can you believe it's been that long, Pete Haviland?
No, it doesn't feel like that at all.
That's right. We met many moons ago. You're a paranormal investigator, a private investigator, but you're also a hypnotherapist and a paranormal ghost hunter. We're going to hear some true ghost stories. Pete and I got a lot to talk about. Pete, I want you to stand by because we'll catch up with you shortly.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. We're going to have Pete stand by, but meanwhile, we're going to check in with Dr. Jimmy Adams. You know him. He's always here every Friday. Today is no exception. Dr. Adams, we're going to ask you to unmute your mic, and you've got a poem you're going to be sharing with us on a very important special subject to you.
Yes, and this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this piece I wrote is called A Survivor's Song, and it was really dedicated to, a lot of friends I know that dealt with cancer. Some have passed away, some, are still, battling the disease. And I was asked to put a piece together for a show, a Red Cat Jazz Festival, and they were honoring this month. So this piece is really dedicated to all the survivors out there and those with the memories of their loved ones who have, passed or gone through this.
Cancer's touched, I think, each and every one of us in a certain way. We all know someone or had someone very close or may have had ourselves dealt with cancer. We want to go ahead and get started with this. And the name of the poem in the piece you have, Dr. Adams, is called A Survivor Song. You want to go ahead and take it away?
Over 1 million people in the United States are diagnosed with cancer each year. Whether you have cancer or you know someone that does, understanding what to expect can help you cope and deal with this debilitating illness. Trying to come to grips with this reality is life-defining. For those struggling with this illness, we can only imagine what you're going through. And for those who have lost a battle but put up a courageous fight, we won't ever forget you. This is my reflection of the reality of living with cancer and one's fight to survive, titled A Survivor's Song. The face in the mirror, staring back I see, cast a reflection unrecognizable to me. My face is thin, my jaws are sunk in, my clothes hang loose, they don't fit my skin. My hair has fallen from my head, I'm confined, bound to my hospital bed. Blood stains run down my clothes from plastic tubes being shoved in my nose. My eyes blink without lashes. My eyebrows are painted on my face. My mouth waters, but it's only agony I taste. My breasts are sore to the touch from being pressed, prodded, and examined too much. The silicone is cold that rests in my chest, covered only by the warm skin of my breast. My body is weak from radiation, sore from augmentation. I pray for salvation, I seek liberation, because my identity has been taken, my vitality put on hold, but I cling to life by the depths of my soul. I've come back from the edge of death to live, to take another breath. I've taken all this disease could throw at me. My faith was tested to the highest degree, but I thank God I had my doctors and my family were there for me. And here I stand, cancer free. I'm a survivor. Look at me. Put your hands in the air for a survivor. Wave your hands for a survivor. For now my struggle may be over, but the war continues on. So I fight for those still in the battle, and for those dead and gone. I fight to live, not die. Life is precious. There's no time to cry. There's no time to rest. So I pin a pink ribbon to my chest, and I run to the light without fear of the night, bound only by my silent plight. I'm not afraid to play life's melody. I will go to battle, armed with every breath in me. I will continue to fight to exist, because with cancer, your life is always at risk. I will continue to search to find an answer that will one day cure cancer. I'm just a warrior whose life may have come and gone, but I know God has not left me out here alone. I'm a survivor, and this is a survivor song.
My name is Steffi Grace. I am a 6-year cancer survivor of anaplastic astrocytoma, and this is my song.
My name is Carolyn Moore. I'm a 6-year breast cancer survivor, and this is my song.
I am Joanna Kyle. I am a 9-year breast cancer survivor, and this is my song.
I'm Dr. Jenny Bennett, and I'm a 19-year breast cancer survivor, and this is my song.
I'm Bridget Taylor, 3-year breast cancer survivor, and this is my song.
And this is a survivor's song.
Once again, Dr. Adams, an incredible piece. And, you know, what I really like about that piece at the end, where you bring in the survivors to really very succinctly and poignantly tell their short story, how they're still survivors. And I think that's something we need to all remember right now. You know, breast cancer awareness is really only 1 month, but it's something that happens all year round, especially for those who are going through the disease and the illness.
Yeah. And, you know, with Bridget, you know, I had wrote this piece, but I didn't have her, you know, I was really kind of speaking to everyone, but her story kind of aligned directly with what I had written. So it was kind of, you know, one of these out of body experiences, as I always tell you, you know, when I was writing this thing. So hopefully, it brings some awareness to what people go through.
Sure.
And the journey and what they have to deal with to survive. And, they're down, and then, through help from friends and doctors and support, they pull out of it. So, this is, kind of hurt that story. And and so I dedicate it to all of those survivors out there and those that are fighting, to cure this cancer. So.
Dr. Jimmy Adams, always a pleasure to have you with us every Friday. I know your day job is the Chief Operating Officer out there at Northeast College. Thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, man. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Thanks, Dr. Adams. All right, we're now going to move on to Pete Haviland. Pete, if you can unmute your microphone, we're going to get started on our next segment. Halloween is tomorrow. And, it's a big day for a lot of folks, but for you, I would imagine, every day is an adventure for you because you're a paranormal investigator and you've been doing so for decades.
Yes, sir, I have. And Halloween, they usually try to kill me with emails and questions and interviews and stuff. It's actually pretty fun. And I wanted to say about Dr. Adams's poem. It was very powerful, and it really touched me. Thank you, Dr. Adams.
He's an incredible poet. He really is, and he's some very powerful stuff that he brings on the show. Yeah. You and I met. Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say I have two parents that are cancer survivors, so that's why it brings it home to me.
It touches all of us, certainly so. Yes. Pete, you and I met a couple of decades ago. I was in the news industry, and we caught up doing a story on ghosts here in Houston, Texas. But we continued as friends, and you and I had a chance to work together. We're going to show some video from a show that we put together. I believe this was around 2004, Pete, and you played a big role in the show. Wow. The show was called The Road Beyond. You remember getting together for that?
Yeah.
And we
yes, I remember that. That was fun.
It was a lot of fun. We went down to Galveston and did some investigations down there with the show, and we pitched it to a couple of networks. Didn't really take off, but it certainly was a lot of fun. And people always ask, "Did you catch anything on the show?" I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but there was this one point where we had people all throughout this old building in Galveston, and there were people upstairs, and they were supposedly the medium was interacting with the spirit, and one downstairs was as well. Right. And we caught a child screaming on the microphones. You remember that?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty cool
I believe
moment.
that was. Yeah, I believe that was Cindy, and I think that she got. We brought her into one room, and she had mentioned something about feeling like she was stabbed, and she looked like she was actually hurting after she felt that. That was pretty intense too.
Yeah, she also said she saw a man with a bloody head with a bandage on his head, and we later found out that building was used as an infirmary for Union soldiers during the Civil War. So that was pretty powerful as to what was going on as well. I want to ask you about a few things because you've explored all throughout Houston some of the most famous haunted areas, and people may not know, some of these buildings aren't standing any longer, but one of them I particularly remember well, especially if you went out in the 80s, you might have paid a visit in the Montrose to the Ale House. And you did some experiments there and were able to really interact with a number of things there. Maybe you can tell us about your experience at the Ale House.
Sure. I went out there several times with different mediums. There was a sea captain, and there was also a lady. Her name escapes me. I apologize. But they were kind of tied together. And from what I had gathered from working with several mediums, the woman that was there was brought there as a child. She grew up there, and she became part of the House of Ill Repute. And she was actually killed there. She was stabbed and stumbled down the stairs, and died at the foot of the stairs, from what I remember. Now, I had a documentarian, Joe Perez, and we were interviewing the manager, and as we were interviewing the manager, we caught what sounds like a woman's scream as we were doing that. And I think I sent you that film.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible when that happened as well. And I know you've done several news stories. I want to move on to a couple of the other haunts, which particularly in the downtown area, very near each other. One of them no longer open any longer, the old Spaghetti Warehouse. And of course, La Carafe, which is still standing today, possibly one of the, if not the oldest building in Houston. But those buildings, and you and I went on an investigation at the Spaghetti Warehouse, and that was very active there.
Yes. The story is that one of the main stories is that the gentleman that was working there was working late, and he was doing something, and he had died in the elevator, and some people claim that they saw his wife, excuse me, roaming around upstairs looking for him. And we have some photographs that we sent to you of mists in the elevator taken by two different people, two different cameras at two different times.
Incredible stuff. And do you remember, maybe you had told me this story, and I talked about it yesterday on the air, but at the Spaghetti Warehouse, a lot of times you go into, if you bring a medium with you, you go into these places, and the medium may want to clear the spirits, but the Spaghetti Warehouse made you sign documents saying that you weren't going to get rid of their ghosts.
Exactly. Yeah, they saw that was part of the charm there. And I had to sign something like that. First time I ever signed anything like that.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Another interesting story, and I know you did this with one of the local news stations, but down in Galveston, they're notorious for their hotels, but there's something weird about a face that keeps showing up on UTMB. Was it UTMB in Galveston?
Yeah, the UTMB medical building, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
There was a face that shows up there, and they tried to sandblast it several different times, and they claim that it moves. The face will move to different panels, and I believe I sent you that as well.
We'll be showing those pictures as well. I want to bring Brittany Pacheco into the conversation because Brittany's our co-host. Of course, Frank is joining me as well, and he's invited to join in as well. But Brittany had a story, and she wanted to talk to you about something she witnessed down in Galveston as well. Brittany, this is Pete, by the way. Thanks for being here, Brittany.
Hey, thanks so much. Hey, Pete, it's nice to meet you. I've actually been experiencing some phantom flushing with my plumbing, hence why I was not on this morning. Hopefully that can be sorted out. If not, I might need to bring you and your crew out here to check out what's going on.
I would be more than happy to help you.
But in all seriousness, my experience, for one, small correction, was actually in New Orleans. And New Orleans obviously has a long history in itself.
Yes, it does.
I say we because it's my family and I. We stayed at a bed and breakfast. I couldn't tell you what it is. Lovely place. It had been an orphanage back in the day. And to my understanding, it had burned down. I think some children unfortunately had passed. But the room that we were in, my parents were in one room, I was in another, and I kept feeling like a bump, in the mattress, and no one else is in there. And I'm over here like, all right, do your thing, just don't scare the bejesus out of me, right? So because I missed the first half of this interview, has your job taken you to places like that in New Orleans, for example?
Yeah, I've actually done some things in New Orleans when I was working with Dow Chemical out there, and had the opportunity to. There was I don't remember the name of the house, but it was an old plantation, and we had the opportunity to walk through that, and we did have what felt like hands running through our hair. Things like that. I have worked with bed and breakfast here in Houston, and there was one in particular that I remember that, and the name of it escapes me. I don't even think it's around anymore. But there was we saw what looked like a dead child walking down the hallway. Of course, you never get the great stuff because you never have your cameras with you.
Yeah.
It's always a visual thing. But yeah,
Definitely.
that was pretty intense too. Had the opportunity to work with a 1900 storm survivor too in the Galveston. And,
wow.
we had the opportunity of seeing a child there too that presented themselves as kind of gray, like they had been dead for a while. So,
I want to grab Frank and bring him into the conversation. Frank, have you ever seen a ghost or had anything weird happen to you? You there, Frank?
You're muted, Frank.
We may have lost Frank. It looks like we may have had a.
Well, I want to share one other quick
ahead,
experience too. So, and this may sound creepy, Todd. You might think a little differently of me after this. When I was 6 years old, my grandfather, my dad's dad, had passed away. Now, keep in mind, I actually knew my grandfather really because he had Alzheimer's by the time I was old enough to get to know him, have you. So again, I was 6. My parents did not have to go to the funeral, and my dad delivered the eulogy. Had no knowledge of what was said, what was, what happened. So I want to say maybe that same day or the day after, I was in bed and I saw kind of like a grayed out silhouette at the foot of my bed, over as if picking up something off the floor. And I looked and I said, Dad, what are you doing? I blinked and it was gone. And so I got up, told my parents about it, and they were like, are you sure you weren't dreaming? 6-year-old. Yeah, I get it. And I said, no, but he talked to me. They're like, well, what do you mean he talked to you? Did he actually use his voice? No, it's like he talked to me through my mind. Well, what
telekinesis.
It's like, well, what did he say? He said that he wanted to let his children know that he was proud of them. And my dad broke down crying because that's exactly what he had said in the eulogy. And I was not there.
Well, and Brittany, you bring up something I remember Pete telling me when I first met him. Pete, you had a quick story about a grandparent with your first paranormal experience. Maybe you can tell us that, because that's pretty amazing too.
Yeah, I was 12 years old and I was watching monster movies downstairs in my parents' house. The room got really, really cold, and my dog was freaking out a little bit. And I turned around to see what she was looking at, and I saw my grandfather walking down the stairs of my parents' house, which is great, but he had passed the year before. And I walked over there to look at him, and he looked as solid as we are, but it was quiet. And it kind of looked like a film loop, and he just walked downstairs. It was cold when he passed me. And
I think we lost your audio. There you go.
Of where he lived.
We can hear you now.
He lived, and when I opened the door, I saw two medallions that he hung in his houses in New York. So, it was pretty intense. I was ever since then. I've been involved with this stuff. It's been about 35 years now.
Well, Pete has been involved with the Travel Channel. He's done TV shows. I've worked with him on TV shows. And you also have something called the Full Spectrum Project, which people can find it on Facebook. And you have a internet radio station, correct?
Yes, I do. SRNlive.com. I'm in the process of revamping that. WBHM-DB.com is where the Full Spectrum Project is right now. It's on Thursdays at 8 Eastern to 10 Eastern.
And there's a chance I may be working with Pete doing something on that full spectrum in the future. We'll maybe do our own show on that once a week. So we look forward to that in the future. Maybe we can bring back The Road Beyond as a radio show for the Full Spectrum Project. Let's do that, Pete.
That would be cool. I look forward to it.
Pete Haviland, we appreciate you joining us, kicking off this holiday or Halloween holiday weekend. Thanks for being here, Pete. Good luck to you and stay safe.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. All right, we're going to move to our HCC news and announcement. Frank, are you there? Because I think you were frozen for a little while when we were trying to get a hold of you earlier. Have you ever had any paranormal or ghost experiences?
No, I have not. And if I can't sleep tonight, I'm blaming you, Pete, and Brittany, just so you know. Y'all's crazy.
All right, so
I'll go over and cuddle with you. That way you can sleep. You'll be okay.
Brittany, I got to give it to you, Brittany. You had some pretty creepy stories there. I mean, I understand, I get where you're coming from, but those were when you, not many people, there are people in the paranormal industry. I'll tell you this because I work with several of them at one time, but there are people that go their whole life trying to find have a paranormal experience, and they never do so. You know, they never get that. They try to capture it on tape, and they're never able to do so. But you've already had a couple of experiences yourself.
Yeah, thankfully I haven't really had experience since the last one I probably was maybe 16. But the way I look at it personally, and this is just my own personal belief, is that we're not being harmed by these spirits. In a way, it's kind of like them coming through just to say hello or that kind of thing. That's just my personal belief. So I feel like if you're not going to do any harm to them, they're not going to do any harm to you. Others may feel differently. I do believe that there are some evil spirits out there. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day, obviously. But like I said, ultimately, they're not going to do anything to you if you don't do anything to them. So take that as you will.
There you go. Well, Brittany, we've got a couple of quick things I want to get to. We're running out of time, but I want to let people know we've got a number of voting things going on across HCC. Next Tuesday, of course, early voting going on throughout today. It's your last day to early vote, but across the district, we've got things leading up to next Tuesday.
Yeah, we do. So the Office of Student Life and Student Government Association will rock the vote virtually this election day. So come out and rock the vote on Tuesday, November 3rd. Excuse me, at 6 p.m. More details are to come, but I love how Student Life is engaging with our students, even virtually, to make sure that they perform their civic duty and have their voice be heard.
And if you need to learn your voting locations on Tuesday or today, you want to early vote, get out there and do it today. Go to harrisvotes.org. That's Harris County's voting website. It'll give you all the locations. You can vote anywhere in early voting, but you have to vote at your precinct location on Tuesday. So keep that in mind, harrisvotes.org. Frank, real quickly, Rec Sports has some things going on today, including your favorite, Twerk Fitness.
Yes, my favorite indeed. So I'm gonna say it in the most rated G way possible. But outside of Twerk Fitness, we have the walkathon starting next week from the 1st to the 7th. Students can submit miles every day by 8 p.m. Prizes for the top 5 males and females, with first place winners achieving a Fitbit. So please get involved, and you might win a free Fitbit, guys. Deadline to register is tomorrow, though, Saturday, October 31st. Submit miles to lewis.earl@hccs.edu. All the information will be on this post after the show's over with. And then also, we got free events all week. From Twerk Fitness on Fridays. To register, go to Christian.Andrews at hccs.edu. Why am I smiling so hard? I don't know. Subject line twerk. For our Rec Sports events, go to hccs.edu/Rec Sports.
And it's a free event hosted by the V Sisters. They'll be in charge of that. Let's scroll on down real quickly because we want to let you know, students, there's a number of things happening virtually, but most importantly, if you have questions, you can get them answered by going to our virtual lobby on our website. And that's very easy. You just go to the homepage, you'll see a thing you can click on. That'll take you to the virtual lobby and you can get your questions answered. So Brittany, what do we have coming up next week?
Woo, I'm about to lose my voice because Frank, I swear, you cheesing is making it difficult to wrap up this show. But Monday, we're going to be joined by Dr. Mehmet Argan, Dean of the Global Energy Center of Excellence. She'll be here to talk about its ongoing panel discussion on the industry. But next week, will be about some high demand job opportunities. And of course, Todd, Election Day is right around the corner. So we're going to be joined by none other than Carl Mays of the Office of Student Life, here to tell us how they're going to be rocking the vote on Tuesday.
Yep. All that's happening next week on the show. Frank will be back, and maybe over the weekend he can enlighten us with a paranormal experience that he has over the weekend. So
or maybe a twerk out fitness with the V Sisters, just saying.
What about paranormal experience? That would be awesome.
Using both.
All right. Thank you for being here on this show. And we look forward to having you next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, mask up, get out there. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Enjoy Halloween. And we'll see you back live Monday morning at 10 a.m.